And we are live.
Live and direct, here we go. It's going to be an exciting show. I hope everybody's in good shape. Everybody's ready for some fun tonight.
And happy Father's Day to all the NosillaCastaways who are dads. I hope you've had a good, relaxing day. And I think it's also the summer solstice, at least Northern Hemisphere, winter in the Southern. So longest day of the year today, or shortest, depending on what hemisphere you're in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Armand's mom might actually be Armand. I'm not sure.
It might be, yeah. Welcome, Armand or Armand's mom.
Let's see. Actually, we should find out if they are listening. Let's see. I don't see them in the capital.
I don't see them in the live show listen panel, but I don't know if they're watching YouTube or.
Live show listen channel on the left, where you can listen if you're not watching the video. All right. Well, Alan hasn't given me the go-ahead yet, but I'm thinking it's probably time for roll call.
I would say so.
All right, come on, Alan. Give me the roll call symbol. Here we go. We've got Alan and Kevin and Bruce and Jason and Frank and John and Mike and Sandy and Steve and Armand's mom.
Oh, she just clarified. She just clarified.
Yeah, that's why I just said Armand's mom, who is Nyla. And let's see. Kurt snuck in there in the sidebar. And let's see who else we got. Let's see. Zoe might be here. I don't see a Frank. Kevin, is Frank coming tonight?
I know Rick is not.
Oh, okay. He's out tonight.
And no Rose yet, but she sometimes pops in a little later.
All right. So we have fixed the audio problem with playback of music. We figured out what it was. It was
in Discord.
In Discord, it was a noise cancellation feature that got enabled that I didn't turn on. So I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't know. Steve loves that phrase. And our granddaughter has gotten into doing this with her hands, and she says that. Is it actually in that bit?
It's from that skit. It's from that skit. The roll call skit.
Okay. Oh, that is the funniest one. I can't open the session. Oh, there it goes. I'm still getting into where I can mute you. All right. Well, I think I am ready to record here.
All right. I'm ready to go.
I'm going to quit that. Let me see if I get anything else running. I'm not going to do that after all. I need that. I might need that. Don't need that. No Twitter. All right. Okay, here we go. Muting Steve. Oh, hang on. My lighting is all wrong and my window's open, Steve.
Yeah, it looks
you didn't do your work.
A little washed out there. Elevator music while Allison adjusts her lighting.
All right. Is that better lighting, Steve?
Still seems a little bright. I'm not sure.
I think the last time we were on, you made me brighten it up.
Not this bright.
Seriously. This is a setting. I have a static setting. I can change it if you want. It does look really bright.
If you don't mind being washed out, that's okay.
How's that? Is that better?
Better. You're still pretty bright, but better.
I brought it down a lot. How's that?
There you go. Now it's starting to look a little better.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'm not going to save it because you change your mind on it every week. All right.
It looks like you got someone helping you in the background.
Oh, yeah. Ada Lovelace right there. Okay. Time for muting Steve. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, June 20th, 2021, and this is show number 841. Well, for those of you celebrating Father's Day, I wish you all a very, very happy Father's Day. Special happy Father's Day to Steve and my son Kyle and my son-in-law Nolan, because they all rock as dads. Well, I think we've got a fun show this week, but, I always think that. I've got 2 articles of my own, and then I have a really interesting interview for you with a very young friend of mine. He's got lots of opinions on Apple products, and I think you're going to get a kick out of hearing his perspective. All right, I think I lowered that intro music a little too low. Save and see up. I think that was a little too low. All right, that looks about right. Okay, I'm going to do a chapter mark here with the magic of Mike's script, just like it had eyes.
And it worked.
That's what I thought it'd say. Yep. There was some weird lag last week on my Mac. I'm not sure why that was.
That's right.
So annoying. That's why it was just taking longer than the timeout that he has set on it. So, all right, here we go. No, here we don't. Try again. Well, this week we have a very different kind of episode of Chit Chat Across the Pond Light. On the awesome Kilowatt podcast, which is a show all about electric vehicles, host Bodie Grimm asked me and my husband Steve to be his guests on the show. Now, you really shouldn't listen to it on the Chit Chat Across the Pond feed. You should go subscribe to the Kilowatt podcast instead and listen to it there. But unfortunately, fortunately for me, but I don't know why he did this, Bodie insisted that we should share the love, and he let me broadcast it for you on the Chit Chat Across the Pond Light feed as well. The reason he had us on was he wanted us to come on the Kilowatt podcast to talk about what we don't like about our Teslas. The little fiddly bits, if you will. We love our Model 3 and Model Y, but there's definitely things we wish were different. I know a lot of you out there are big fans of Steve, so this is a rare opportunity to hear him in front of a microphone. Steve and I had a blast recording with Bodie, and we hope you'll enjoy it as well. You can find this episode in your Chit Chat Across the Pond Light feed, or of course you should go subscribe to the Kilowatt podcast if you're interested in listening and learning about electric vehicles in general. He talks about all the different models, not just Teslas. He talks about the latest news, talks about recalls, he talks about advances in batteries and new factories being built. It's a really, really good show, so you should go check it out. Look it up in your podcatcher of choice as the Kilowatt podcast. Could have sworn I wrote that all up in here. Oh, you know what I haven't done? I did do it. I have not refreshed the feeds.
So I think Armand's having a little trouble with the video. So another way to do this, I'm not sure how you're watching it. Is it if it's on a Mac or iOS or an iPad? But I can also give you a link to the YouTube video, which also shows the video.
I gave them the podfeet.com/live link.
Okay.
Are you saying there's a problem with that?
I don't know. It's not clear.
That's true. The straight video feed might be nice too. I would bet they have an iPad with them.
Yeah.
Yes,
the message
we do,
is,
John.
what do we do if the embedded video is not working on the page?
I don't know. Yes, John, we have two Teslas.
And we say everything
really
together.
Stepping on each other here.
Wow.
Oh, thanks, Alan. Alan already listened to the Kilowatt episode. That's good. I'm glad you liked it. All right.
Got the second one in June of last year, John. About a year after Allison got hers.
Tell them what you got.
So about a year ago, Model Y. Model Y, which is like the SUV version of the Model 3. Small SUV.
Okay, and here is... Okay, muting Steve. I am so excited about my latest pair of Bluetooth headphones. I just bought a pair of AirPods. No, not AirPods Pro, AirPods. I already have a pair of AirPods Pro, and you know what? I really dislike them. There's a number of things I dislike about the AirPods Pro, but the number one thing is that they still fall out of my ears. I replaced the original ear tips with some from Comply that did absolutely nothing to keep them in my ears. And then Frank told us about the Chargen ear tips, which helped a lot to keep them in my ears. But even with the Chargen, there's overhead associated with using them. To get the ear hooks to work, I didn't write up the ear tips. Dang it. I'm going to start this over. It's supposed to be the ear tips. Okay, try this again. I am so excited about my latest pair of Bluetooth headphones. I just bought a pair of AirPods. No, not AirPods Pro, AirPods. I already have a pair of AirPods Pro, and you know what? I really dislike them. There are a number of things I dislike about the AirPods, but the number one thing is that they still fall out of my ears. I replaced the original ear tips with some from Comply that did absolutely nothing to keep them in my ears. Then Frank told us about the Chargen ear tips and the Chargen ear hooks, but even with the Chargens, there's overhead associated with using those ear hooks. They aren't that bad, but to get them to mostly stay in your ears, you have to squeeze the foam, you have to put the AirPod into your ear. Dagnabbit. No, I did remember it. Okay, There are a number of things I dislike about the ear. I replaced the original ear tips with some from is that they still fall out of my ears. I replaced the original ear tips with some from Comply that did absolutely nothing to keep them in my ears. Then Frank told us about the Chargen ear tips, which I told you about that I got those too, and those really did help a lot. But even with the Chargens, there's some overhead associated with using them. To get them to mostly stay in your ears, you have to squeeze the foam, put the AirPod into your ear with the stem pointing out from your face, then rotate the stem downward, and then hold for a few seconds while the foam expands into your ear canal. This works much better than just shoving them in your ears and hoping for the best. When Chargen sent me their ear hooks, that's when things got a lot better. I still have to do the squeeze, rotate, wait dance to get the AirPods Pro properly sealed in my ear, but the ear hook is what actually keeps them from falling out. While they don't fall out, they do sort of ooze out of my ear canal, so I have to keep shoving them back in so they fit properly. The only nice thing I can say about the AirPods Pro over the original ones is that the stem being shorter reduces the chance that I'll accidentally knock them off when brushing hair out of my face when I'm running. It reduces, not eliminates, the chance. Putting on the ear hooks only takes a few seconds, so it's not a huge deal, but it is time I don't enjoy adding to the squeeze, rotate, wait dance. The other problem is that about 75% of the time, I put the wrong ear hook on the AirPod. You know what? They're like USB cables, more often wrong, even though you should have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. I know that what the ear hooks should look like when they're installed on the AirPods, but for some reason, I have a very low probability of getting it right on the first try. I think it's a personal problem. Both the AirPods and the ear hooks have the letters L and R on them, but neither are easy to see. I have x-ray vision since my cataract surgery, but I still have to hold them up to the light and study for a bit to tell which one is which. For some reason, the shape of the AirPods Pro, even after a couple of years of using them, do not scream right and left to me. This brings up another problem. I don't think I've ever put them back in the case on the first try without mixing left and right. Now, I have a trained and genetically acquired engineering brain that sees geometry instinctively. I mean, I can screw on a nut on a bolt that's upside down under a table without having to think which way is clockwise. But I'll be darned if I can tell left from right on an AirPods Pro. Now, I do like the noise cancellation on the AirPods Pro, but I truly hate the transparency mode. It sounds to me like they take all of the highest frequencies in your surrounding in your surroundings and just amplify them. On top of X-ray vision, I happen to have stupid good high-frequency hearing. Believe it or not, I can still hear that frequency that only teenagers are supposed to be able to hear. So the last thing in the world I want is to have high-frequency sound screeching into my ears. Don't even get me started on how I feel about being in a room with a group of preteen little girl voices. Quick sip. Another thing is I've been Nope. I've been participating in Apple research studies, one of which is hearing, so I've been more attentive to any changes in my hearing. I don't know if this is related to prolonged use of noise cancellation with my sealed-in AirPods Pro, but I've noticed in the evenings I'll hear a faint hissing in my ears, like a weird pressure sort of sound. It goes away eventually, but I don't remember hearing it before. Again, I'm paying more close attention right now, so it might be self-selection, and it might be unrelated to noise cancellation on the AirPods Pro, but it did give me pause. Now, I used to own the second-gen non-Pro AirPods, but after a few years of being awesome, something kind of went wonky with them. They would intermittently tell me that one AirPod had 0 battery, even though they'd been charging overnight. I could sometimes put the recalcitrant AirPod back into the case and immediately remove it, and then it would go, yeah, I got 100%. So it was kind of like a firmware problem or something, because the AirPod really was charging. Now, other times it would refuse to correct itself and play any sound and would say, nope, I'm still 0%. Now, the other problem was that it seemed to switch which AirPod was failing to charge. It wasn't possible to isolate whether maybe it was the charging case itself that had the problem. Eventually, I decided that they seemed to be more consistently the right AirPod, and I attempted to buy a new one. Nowhere on Apple's site can you buy a single AirPod. You have to go through Apple support, and you have to answer all of their questions, after which they will politely inform you you're no longer under Apple Care, at which point you politely explain that you pointed that out at the beginning of the call. Only at this juncture will they allow you to give them $89 for one AirPod. You can tell that I followed this exact path, can't you? Well, the story has a sad ending. After shelling out the $89, the problems continued. Rather than to keep buying piece by piece to solve the problem, I gave the 3 AirPods and their charging case to Lindsay because she had a set with aging batteries, and I figured at least the new replacement AirPod would be a help to her. I was sad to see them go, but at least I stopped worrying about fighting with them. I used to keep them on my desk and think, I've got to be able to figure this out. Once I gave them away, I stopped worrying about it. Now, I kept fighting instead with the AirPods Pro. I'd been dreaming about going back to AirPods, and recently, when I was too lazy to go get my AirPods Pro to make a call, I decided to use my wired earpods. Remember those? They're shaped just like non-Pro AirPods, and you know what? They fit so perfectly, and they felt fantastic, and they didn't fall out of my ears. Now, it seemed idiotic to spend money on the second-gen AirPods when I owned the new hotness, which is why I put up with all of these problems for so long. It also might seem idiotic to buy AirPods when there's rumors of a new model coming out soon, but that's exactly why I bought them right now. I was worried that this form factor might be going away. Regular AirPods are $199 with the wireless charging case and $159 with the regular charging case. When I bought regular AirPods the last time, I sprang for the wireless charging case, and I have to admit, I've rarely used it. I have a Qi charging pad and a lightning cable sitting side by side where I put my AirPods back in their case, and after using the charging pad for a while, I realized it was actually faster to just shove in a lightning cable than to faff about moving the AirPods case around until the little light started to glow, indicating I was getting a charge. So when rebuying my second-gen AirPods, I opted for the quote-unquote inexpensive $159 version. Steve picked them up for me at our now partially open Apple store, and when he brought them home, I opened them up next to my phone and they instantly connected. I forgot how joyful that initial experience is with a new set of AirPods. I put them in my ears, and it was as though they disappeared. I can hardly feel them in my ears at all. No pinching, no twisting, no waiting, just instant gratification. I went for my first walk and run with them, and not once did they fall out. I think I adjusted the left one maybe twice on my run, which compares to maybe 20 times per run with the AirPods Pro. I literally forgot they were there for most of the run. On my walk, it was quite blustery, and I did notice the wind noise, so I missed the noise cancellation a bit, but I'd trade it in a heartbeat for the incredibly comfortable fit for me of the plain old AirPods. When I came home, I took them out of my ears, and I had no moment of doubt trying to figure out which one was left and right. Now, I know I'll mess this up from time to time, but instead of messing them up more often than not, it will be just a minor annoyance the rare times I mess that up. Now, I did have to relearn how to play pause on the AirPods. On the AirPods Pro, you squeeze to play pause, which does help to keep them in the ear. On the regular AirPods, you have to double tap. I remember this is the one time I would sometimes knock them out of my ear. But at least if I do that, it will be me knocking them out, not them spontaneously squirting out of my ear. I also forgot how much smaller the original AirPods case is than the Pro case. That's not a big deal, but it is delightfully smaller, and I'm a fanatic at minimizing what goes in my purse. I carry the tiniest, thinnest wallet you've ever seen. It's just a piece of leather with slots on either side for cards, and I purposely carry a very small purse, too, just to keep me from filling it with huge, heavy things. The smaller AirPods case is a nice touch. Now, there are a few things I'll be giving up. Apple just announced in the keynote at WWDC that they'll be giving AirPods Pro and AirPods Max Find My support, so you'll be able to find them even if they're inside the case. You can even have an alert to let you know if you're about to leave your AirPods Pro behind. Sadly, the regular AirPods are not on the list of devices to get Find My support. Now, the traditional AirPods also don't do spatial audio. I don't listen to music, and I don't ever watch movies with them, so I don't think that's going to be a big loss, and I'll be happy with my mono spoken word podcasts. I think there are even more features I'll be missing that were announced recently, but I don't care, because these headphones stay in my ears, and that's the most important thing for me. I know that for a lot of people, the original form factor of AirPods and EarPods was problematic. Steve can't keep those in his ears for more than a few seconds. I really thought he was just making it up, but I've seen him put them in and they just go boop. They immediately fall out of his ears. If you're one of those people and AirPods Pro works great for you, I'm super happy for you. But I'm super happy for me that Apple still sells the original non-Pro AirPods. I'm so delighted with my new AirPods. It's kind of like how good it feels when you stop banging your head against a wall. I'm in love with these AirPods, probably even more than I was with my first pair. I'll be hanging on to the AirPods Pro for the noise cancellation on airplanes, but for all of my other headphone needs, I'll be using my glorious new second-gen AirPods.
So Kevin pointed out he didn't see you. You may have done it. Put the chapter mark for the previous section. Looks like you did.
Can you see the 2 chapters?
We can see it there. All right. We're in good shape.
Okay. I thought that's how you guys would know whether I did it or not.
Well, normally you kind of mention that you're doing it, and I think you just did it without saying much last time.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't blow up the screen so that people could see it. It's too small when it's...
Here. I'll
this
let you
view,
watch
though,
this
this
time.
view, it's too hard to see. You can't really see much.
Okay, but I'm going to do it.
Okay. We'll blow it up.
Okay. Copy link. Copy. And there it goes. Did the macro work? Yep, the macro works great.
Excellent.
Yeah. So has Alan been asking about, he uses the regular Apple Podcast app, and it's shockingly had problems.
It turns out he clarified he uses Overcast.
Well, no, he uses Overcast now.
Oh,
because we talked about it in Slack. He asked, he mentioned that he was having problems with the Apple Podcast app, and I said you should try Overcast or Pocket Cast or basically any other podcasting app would be better.
Did they break the chapter marks in the podcast app?
He said they did. I don't have knowledge of that directly, but
okay,
that's why he's talking about Overcast now.
Got it.
Yeah. Noise suppression was messing up the macro. Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, that could have been it.
I think I was getting a lot of delays last week, and I think it was timing out.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of hesitation.
And not on your part.
No.
No.
I had to think for a minute. What's on my computer's part? All right, I'm going to record again.
All right.
I want to know if there's chapter marks in Downcast. Ooh, Downcast.
So Kevin's a Downcast user, aren't you, Kevin?
Yeah, that's why Alan's asking him. Yeah, that's why Alan's asking Kevin.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Okay, I'm muting you. All right. After this segment, Armand's mom, I'll be doing a plug for people to pay me, and then we'll have Armand. All right, here we go. So you probably got to get another 10 minutes or so. More water. Pamplemousse. Back when I was working, I used to make video tutorials for distribution inside my company. At the time, I was forced to use Windows Vista on a terrible HP laptop, and the only screencasting game in town was Camtasia Studio. Now, I'm sure that in the last decade, that software has to have improved dramatically, but at that time, Camtasia on Windows Vista was the worst software combination I have ever used in my lifetime. I mean, there is nothing that was as bad as that. And yet, I still managed to produce video tutorials that taught thousands of people in my company to use one of our important software tools. I still meet people today who know me because of those tutorials. When I was first making them, I remember a guy saying to me, "Creating video tutorials is easy." Well, in one sense, he was completely right. You get some software, you press the record button, you do stuff on the computer while talking into a microphone, and then you press stop. When you're done, you do technically have a video tutorial, and technically it was easy. Now, the point he missed entirely is that making good video tutorials is very, very hard. I've made over 75 video tutorials for Screencasts Online, and over the years, I've learned a lot of little tricks that have made each video better than the last. I thought maybe if I told you about them, perhaps your journey towards making great video tutorials would be shorter than mine. Even if you have no intention of ever making a screencasting tutorial, I think you'll enjoy understanding the work that goes into making a good tutorial. Maybe it'll make you hate poorly created tutorials more, but I can live with that. Now, I'm going to break this up into two parts. Today, I'm going to be telling you about the first part, which is all about preparing to make a recording, kind of like fixing to make a plan. Now, the goal here is to teach you how to set things up so that you're as efficient and productive as you can be while creating a video tutorial that people will want to watch. The initial setup will save you time in the long run while increasing the quality of your end product. The second part will be tailored to how to actually record and edit efficiently. I think I can provide some little tips and tricks that will make you faster at editing and create better edits that don't distract your viewers. I use ScreenFlow from Telestream on the Mac, and while some of it will be specific to that tool, I'll try to keep my explanations as generic as I can and describe the technique before the specific implementation. Now, I think one of the reasons my video tutorials work is because I organize a story before I start to record. If I'm teaching, say, how to use CopyM, my clipboard manager, I don't just show what it does. I don't start in preferences and toggle on and off each setting. I start by telling the audience why they would even want a tool like this in the first place. I don't always say it this way, but you know what I'm doing? I'm telling them the problem to be solved. I give examples of how I use the tool and how and why it helps me and how it might help them. Before I start recording, I spent about a week on and off playing with the tool I'm going to demonstrate, poking every single button and testing every single feature. If there's a manual, I've been known to read it cover to cover, if it's a good one. If I can't figure out how an option works, I contact the vendor and I give them a chance to explain it more clearly to me before I try to explain it to the audience. As I learn about the tool, I start splatting topics out on a mind map using my favorite mind mapping tool, iThoughts from Toketaware. I use a mind map for this job because it allows me to ignore organization while I'm learning. In an outline or other kind of text editor, I feel constrained and compelled to write in an organized way. With a mind map, I can just splat these ideas down and then rearrange them later as the story forms in my head, because a lot of times I can't see the order that I should teach things until I have enough of it on the mind map. A good example of the storytelling part is deciding when to explain the settings and preferences for an app. Sometimes the settings are pivotal to understanding how the app works. A perfect example of this is Bartender 4. Without looking at its settings, you can't modify your menu bar at all, which is the whole point of the app. But other times the settings are just window dressing, letting you change from light to dark mode or changing the number of downloads the app allows. So I explain those settings much later in the story for those apps. Now, when I'm making the mind map, sometimes a section requires an explanation, and I'll use the mind map to document exactly what I want to say. iThoughts has a notes section that can be added to any topic bubble, and that can be handy for writing out these long segments so you get the text just right. It's easier to write out what you want to say and read it once for the recording than it is to try to do it off the cuff and have to keep re-recording and editing audio. Now, while I'm poking every button and changing every setting in the app I'm going to teach, I'm also practicing what I'm going to do in the video. If I figure out a sequence of steps, that might be hard to remember when it's time to record, I'll document that in my mind map. Why have to figure it out later if you've already figured it out once? I'll tell myself to have a certain type of file ready, like an audio example for an audio editing app, or an image if it's a photography app. I'll put down the step-by-step path that tells that piece of the story. I certainly don't document every bit of the tutorial ahead of time, but if I figure out something during my week or so of learning, I'm not going to waste time figuring it out later or hope I remember. Now, the gentleman that just turned on the recorder and started to demonstrate a tool never told a story. He just pushed buttons and he talked. Now, I once went to a presentation by Alex Lindsay, the well-known computer graphics and video production specialist and founder of the Pixel Core. In this talk, he said, "The most important thing about good video is good audio." I know that's counterintuitive, but it's true. He explained, we'll watch videos where the quality isn't that great, but the audio is good. But we won't watch good-looking video with bad audio. I'm not talking about investing in a $400 microphone. I'm talking about removing noise before you start recording. It's very difficult to remove noise after you record. You have to get specialized tools. You have to spend a bunch of money. You don't want to do that. So these tips are going to help you make sure the noise is not recorded in the first place. I want you to turn off your heating and air conditioning. I don't care how hot or cold you get, your recording will be dreadful if you don't turn them off. Get yourself a fan and turn it on in between recordings, but turn it off while you're recording. Wear a blanket over your lap if you have to, if it gets too cold. Do you have a refrigerator running in the next room on a shared wall? Unplug it. Seriously. Maybe put it on a smart outlet switch so you can turn it on and off remotely, or even with that, you could set up a schedule so you don't forget to turn it back on, because you're going to be in big trouble with your family if you do. Now, the best way to find these sound sources is to make a recording while you're saying nothing and listen back to it with good headphones. If you've got any hearing loss, ask someone else to do the sound check for you. If you're in a room with a nice big sound reflecting window and beautiful hardwood floors, it'd be a good idea to do some adjustments. Put rugs down, add pillows, do whatever you can to deaden the sound. When I moved from recording in our bedroom to my own den, I moved to the front of the house so the window faced a rather busy street. I could hear the cars and planes go by. Never understood why the planes weren't audible at the back of the house, but they weren't. Anyway, that doesn't make any sense. But I spent way too much time having to do voiceovers on segments to remove those sounds. Steve solved the problem for me. He had grommets put in a moving blanket and put hooks on the wall on either side of the window to hang it. Now when I'm recording for Screencasts Online, I always block out the sound with my blanket. It makes the room dark and it makes the room feel really oppressive, but it actually speeds me up because I don't have to re-record because the trash truck drove by. Does your dog have a collar you can remove? It's got tags on it that jingle. Do you have birds you can cover to make them think it's nighttime and be quiet? Do you have a landline phone you could unplug? Have you put your phone, your watch, and your computer in Do Not Disturb so they won't ding and beep and boop while you're recording? I've created automations with my Home Assistant and macros on my computer to disable the things I can, and I have a written checklist for things like the dog collar and the sound blanket. Trust me, your videos will be better and you'll waste less time recording if you stop every possible noise before you start to record. I have environmentally induced attention deficit. Okay, messed that up. Oh, you like that pillow there, huh? The pillow helps deaden the sound, Sandy. All right, where am I? Save. Drink. Thank you, Kevin. I did save. Nice, Ellen. I have Okay, maybe I'm using a made-up word. I have environmentally induced attention deficit disorder, I think. In my real life away from my computer, I can focus on one thing for a very long time. I'm not the kind of person that picks my phone up to look at it when people are around. Unless it's to solve an argument or do some fact checking, of course. But when I sit down at my computer to record a video, I'll start reading Twitter. I'll start editing photos. I'll argue with Tim in Slack, or even worse, watch TikTok and laugh my silly little brains out and not get started. My solution is that I have a separate user account I log into when I'm recording, and I don't launch any of my Play applications over there. I don't log into my personal iCloud account. Instead, I have a demo account in iCloud. This means I can be sure that I won't accidentally show private photos or people's personal contact information when I'm on that account as well. Now, on top of removing distractions, having a separate user account allows me to set it up to be as bland as possible. Under the tutelage of Don McAllister in the old days and Screencast Online editor J.F. Brissett nowadays, I've learned some best practices on computer setup. First of all, I know you think that picture of your pet turtle wearing a flower lei is adorable, but it does not make a good background for a video tutorial. A solid, bland background is really best. We use kind of a dark gray for Screencast Online, and while it bores me to tears, that's its job. It needs to blend into the background so your viewer can focus on the subject at hand. Viewers can be easily distracted by things like the system tray on Windows or the menu bar on the Mac. I use the app Bartender from MacBartender.com to hide every possible menu bar icon. This does make it harder to use the Mac for sure, but this is all about the viewer, right? And again, I'm doing it in this extra user account, so my regular user account is still easy to use. Now, as you're recording your video screencast, you're bound to make mistakes. And if the time is constantly changing in the menu bar at your edit points, the viewer's eyes will be drawn to it. Remember the T-Rex in Jurassic Park who would notice things if they moved? Our lizard brains are still functioning exactly like that. So another distraction there is the changing clock. Ideally, we'd remove the clock from the menu bar entirely, but as of macOS Big Sur, you can't on a Mac. But you can obfuscate the time by changing it from digital to analog. It'll still change, but the analog clock will be wee tiny, so they'd have to be just actually looking at it to notice. The control for this is pretty buried on the Mac. It's in System Preferences, Dock and Menu Bar, Clock, Menu Bar, and then you can flip it from digital to analog. If you can, also remove any desktop icons. If you've taken my advice and you're using a separate user account, you won't have all those files sprinkled all over your desktop that you swear you're going to clean up one of these days. I use an app called Parallels Toolbox that includes a tool to put my Mac into presentation mode. This not only removes any files from the desktop, it hides any connected drives and puts the Mac into Do Not Disturb mode and even stops the dock icons from bouncing. Now, I know all of this sounds like a lot of work, but most of it is set it and forget it if you use a second login when you're doing your screencasting. There we go. And right when I was talking about distractions, I noticed that I did not have Do Not Disturb on. Oh, you learned about Bartender from a great podcast, huh? I still can't get Steve to use it.
Yeah, just not one of my... I don't want another complication.
But that's what's great. It gets rid of the complications. It hides all the stuff you don't actually need.
I guess I don't use that many
even with it hidden, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 icons. That's with Bartenders getting rid of a bunch.
That may be why you need Bartender, and I don't.
Yeah, see, Sandy says it's right. It's a simplification.
It is a simplification, but I guess if I don't need it, it's a complication. I think you need it.
All right, I'm going to keep going here. One thing that isn't set it and forget it is screen resolution. I know you've got that giant, beautiful display that you love, and maybe even a nice Retina display on your laptop. But if you make your screencast at those high resolutions, no one will like you. They'll be straining to read the menus and preferences, and they'll never see your mouse cursor when you click because it'll be too small. If you insist on recording in high resolution, but don't hate your viewers, you're going to have to spend a lot of time and energy putting in animations to zoom in and out. If you have too many zooms and pans, your audience is going to get irpy, and again, no one will like you. Plus, this is a lot of work for you, and our goal is to make this setup help you be as productive as possible. Unless the app you're demonstrating absolutely demands a lot of screen real estate, it will be a great gift to your viewers to lower the resolution of your screen way down. But how far down is way down? We produce the Screencast Online video tutorials at 1920 by 1080 resolution, which is an aspect ratio of 16 by 9. We could go to a higher resolution than 1080p, but for tutorials of computer software, that'd be extra bits that add little to no value. When we record the tutorials, we set our screen resolution to a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, but I can't give you a hard and fast rule on the actual pixel resolution you should use. That's because it will be constrained by your display resolution and the tools you have to control that display. Now I use the Parallels Toolbox Screen Resolution tool to change my 16-inch MacBook Pro to 1280 by 720 Retina. And that's when the demonstrated application will allow me to go that low. Sometimes I've had to go a little bit bigger because it simply won't fit on screen. The windows won't go small enough. Anyway, it's hard to work at a resolution that low. It's really annoying. So what I do is I keep my attached external display at a high resolution so I can do the editing and view my mind map and other notes all in that expansive space. And I do the screencasting from my laptop monitor. Now be sure on a Mac to choose a Retina resolution as it uses pixel doubling or look really bad when it's produced at 1080p. Okay, the hardest part of making tutorials is starting. In mechanical engineering, we talk about the concept of static versus dynamic friction. Picture a very heavy rock you have to push along a gravel road. Getting it started moving is much harder than keeping it moving. Starting to push is when you feel what's called static friction. I find enormous static friction in starting to record a tutorial. I can find every single reason in the book not to start. Wait, I need to look up that section of the preferences for that app to be sure I understand it. Wait, let me check my email one more time to see if the developer got back to me. Wait, there's that hilarious TikTok guy who explains how absurd the English language is by pretending he's inventing it in the first place. I got to go watch that. Well, the only way I've overcome this problem is to promise myself all I have to do is record my introduction. I don't have to do anything else. So I switch user accounts to my screencasting account. I check that I've removed all my distractions. I put that blanket up on the window and I launch iThoughts. I create a new ScreenFlow document at 1920 by 1080 and I save it with a name. Then I record just the audio introduction where I say, "Hi, this is Allison Sheridan and welcome to another edition of Screencasts Online." I'm allowed to stop right there and come back another time. I usually don't stop, but I'm allowed to with no guilt. When I'm mentally ready to kick in and really get going, I don't feel like there's nearly as much static friction because, hey, I already started. Well, in part 2 of this, I'm going to give you my top tips on how to record more easily, how to edit to make better cuts, how to deal with fumbling over your voiceovers, and more importantly, how to make a video that keeps the focus on what you're trying to teach because you've eliminated distracting errors. Again, this is all about speeding you up while increasing the quality of the end product. I wonder if Podfeet used Time Shifter to make an invitation anyway. To what? Armand's mom is in the same time zone as us, Sandy. What was this about Sheridan Meantime? What invitation? You're muted, Steve.
Sorry, that had to do with Sandy originally asking what time zone they're in, and this brought up the whole concept of the Sheridan time zone, and it just went from there.
As it does.
Yeah.
All right, Armand's mom, we're almost there. I'm going to do my spam, and then we're going to hear from Armand. This week we have 3 heroes of the show. Christian Holscher became our latest patron of the show by going to podfeet.com/Patreon and pledging a monthly amount that lets me know that he gets a lot of values out of the shows we do here at the Podfeet Podcast. Scott Gould preferred to send in a one-time donation rather than recurring, so he used PayPal to show his appreciation. He was very generous and wrote a very nice note to go along with it. Christoph Trusch made his quarterly donation via PayPal too, although he sent along an explanation that he was late due to the holidays. I forgave him for his tardiness, of course. Both Christoph and Scott went to podfeet.com/PayPal to make their one-time donations. Thank you so much to Christian, Christoph, and Scott for showing your appreciation. All right, here we go. Now for the exciting part, the part you've been all been waiting for.
Very important to have a chapter mark on this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I don't have, there's no blog post.
Right.
So, dagnammit, it's not that. There we go. And this is Armand on all the new Apple things. Actually, oh shoot. Hey, Armand's mom, put the picture of Armand recording with me into the
If
chat.
if she wants, if she's comfortable.
Nope, she has to.
I just didn't want to apply too much pressure if she's uncomfortable with it.
Oh, you're too nice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I think hopefully. Oh, okay. That's right. That didn't work. I had an interesting problem with the recording.
Technically, it's not a review, Sandy. It's more of a discussion between Armand and Allison. Is that correct, Al?
Yeah. It's Armand talking about why is there no audio there? Oh, come on. Oh, did I grab the AIFF? Never mind. There's something wrong with Hindenburg. I can't export an AIFF. I can export an M4A. Oh, please be there. Please work.
Have you confirmed that you do have the file, the recording?
Oh, this isn't good.
Did you verify that the recording worked?
If you stop talking, I'll tell you the answer.
Didn't hear the answer.
Because you were talking when I was answering. That's
Go ahead.
Dear. No, I have a problem. I've got the AIFF and I'm not hearing it do playback. I mean, the AIFF failed. I knew that. But the M4A, nuts. Okay, I know that one's bad. The M4A, oh man, that one didn't work either. Oh, that's right. I had to go to a wave. There it is. Whew. So there's something wrong with Hindenburg. Come on. Oh, come on. That one worked. That one's a 238 megabyte file. It should play audio. Okay, let me play this. Oh my God, it's not working.
So you can play the audio file, but just not import it into Hindenburg? Is that the problem?
It's not. No, the audio's. Shoot. Okay, I'll show you the problem. Well, I've got the original file. Let me see what happens if I just bring that in. Okay, let me just use that. Okay, I think this is going to work. Okay, come on. Okay, there we go. Okay, panic over.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, there's something wrong with Hindenburg. It's not exporting these files, and that might be bad news for the podcast tonight. I hope not. Okay, let me listen to the transition here. For showing your appreciation. Well, I've got a special guest here today. Okay, so this is a different mic, and I know it's a little bit quieter. Let me hang on. Let me shrink that up. Okay, this is what Armand's mom has been waiting for, because she was good enough to let Armand come over and do the recording without hovering. Here we go. Well, I've got a special guest here today. I've got my buddy Armand, and Armand and we've been friends for ages. I think we first met when you were 5. Is that right, Armand?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I remember you were telling me all about the planets and like what color the different, like you knew Mars was red when you were 4 or 5 years old. So I knew you were one of the smart kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how old are you now?
11.
Oh, okay. And so what grade are you going into?
6th.
6th. Let me, just so you guys can hear this better, let me see if I can find an effect to, maybe I can get the gain up a little bit more. That's great. Okay, good. But the reason we wanted to get together is because you're like a huge Apple fan, right?
Yes.
And you like to, you're always asking me questions, and you're always telling me new stuff that I don't know about, and you've got a lot of opinions on the things that are going on. So what's your setup with your Apple gear right now at home? What do you have?
I have a lot. I have an A12Z iPad Pro. It's a 5K 27-inch iMac from 2020 model.
Yikes.
And a base model M1 MacBook Air.
Oh, you have the M1 MacBook Air. Oh,
Yes.
how do you like that?
It's really good.
Yeah. What do you like about it?
It's nice. You can use it portably with the same Mac OS like on my iMac.
Uh-huh. And do you find it faster or slower than your iMac?
Honestly, I've never compared.
So you can't tell the difference. It feels about the same.
Yeah.
I noticed a fair amount of difference between my 2019 MacBook Pro and the M1 Mac Mini, that things in the system seem faster, like apps loaded faster, like just came up in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So, and doing stuff in the Finder seemed really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you have opinions on the
Yes.
aesthetic design of some of the new things that Apple's come out with. What you wanted to talk about the 24-inch iMac?
Yes. My opinions on the 24-inch iMac are very mixed. Like, they added the same design from the iMac G3, made it modern. I think it's from cartoony. Like, in my sister's room, she has it, and it looks like something from a parallel universe came into her room.
Because of the colors or the shape, or what about it makes you think that
I
way?
think because of the colors, the overall design, and just the the colors, the white bezels really added that kind of cartoony feature, and the stuff on the back.
Oh, like you mean the fact that it's colored, or?
Yeah, the back is like a really joyful color. I know that's what Apple's aiming for because they watched a bit of the event, and they were saying the back of the iMac was meant to spread joy because it's often the first thing you see when you walk into someone's workplace. That's the first thing I see when I walk into my sister's room.
Oh, so does she have it on a desk or something so you see the back of it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. A lot of people have them up against the wall. Like, I've got the that Pro Display XDR, and it's got that really cool looking back.
Yeah,
I never get to see it.
that's true.
I made it my desktop background. I took a picture of it and made it my desktop background so I get to see it.
It's hilarious.
What color did she get?
Pink.
Ah, okay. So, how old is she?
She is 8.
8. Okay. Does she like it?
She loves it. She's on it all the time.
Okay. It looks to me like an iPad.
Yeah, it does. It's like they put an iPad on a stick
Yeah.
with
just,
bezels.
just on that little stand. Yeah. Now, a lot of people don't like the bezels. What do you think?
I mean, I used to not like the bezels, but when it came into my house, I was like fine with it. Like, these features don't look amazing, but they're fine.
You mean, wait, you can't see the speakers, can you? You mean sound? They sound good?
No, like the design is fine. Like, it's
Oh,
not
okay.
amazing, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, Apple calls it like studio quality microphones, and I don't know that I'd quite give it studio quality, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
But they're still supposed to be pretty good. The speakers are supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So does she mostly like watch YouTube and stuff on it, or?
She watches Netflix with her Beats.
Oh,
So-
really? Okay. So she doesn't use the internal speakers that much. She
No.
listens with her headphones.
She uses her headphones.
What's the keyboard like? Did she get the one that's got the Touch ID on the keyboard?
Yes. She got the numeric keypad.
Oh, with the numeric keypad. Really?
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know. Probably because it's bigger.
I mean, does she do a lot of numeric keypad entry? You know, doing a lot
I
of
don't
counting work, or?
I don't know. For summer school, maybe.
Okay. I used to really like having that, and now I just like a smaller keyboard.
Mm.
Which one do you have?
I have numeric keypad.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
If I sit down at one of those now, I can't type at all because my hands are in the wrong place. Every
Oh.
time I set them down, they're in the wrong place.
I see how that happens.
Yeah. What do you think of the Touch ID on the keyboard?
I mean, I did hear a reviewer say that they took a phone button and just pasted it on the iMac. I think that could be true, and they just put a layer of stuff over it. I don't know.
Does it work pretty well for her?
Yeah,
Okay. Did she let you have a fingerprint on her computer?
she was going to, then she didn't.
I wouldn't let my brother have it if I had one of those. That's for sure. Do you? Would a lot of people don't like the chin on the iMac?
I'm one of those people, honestly. I think the chin's just big. I understand why, because they put everything in it.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's fine. I guess
It doesn't bother me at all. Hasn't there always been a chin?
there's always been a chin. I love the chin.
So why does everybody hate it? Is it maybe they notice it because there's no Apple logo on it?
Yeah,
There isn't
it's so
one?
noticeable.
Okay, there isn't an Apple logo, is
No,
there?
there's no Apple logo.
Okay. So I don't remember anybody complaining about it before.
No, I don't think so. There is some people that just want the chin destroyed for the bigger M1 iMac that might come out soon. I don't know.
They'd have to make it thicker then, because
Yeah.
they'd have to put everything behind. If it's not below, it's got to be someplace else, right? It's
Yeah,
not going to
just-
fit in that.
It'll have to be super thick.
Yeah. Well, probably not as thick as the current one, but I'm not sure why thick even matters, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they want to put it closer to their wall or something for some reason. I don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they made that design decision. So let's see. Did you watch some of WWDC? Did you see the keynote?
I begged my teachers to watch 2 minutes.
Wait, you begged your teachers to let you
Yeah.
watch 2 minutes?
I was in school when WWDC happened, so I was begging my teachers to watch it. I did get to watch some of it, but there was just the lame updates, like weather updates. I thought there would be new MacBooks like everyone else, but
Yeah.
there weren't.
Yeah, not yet. But you have a brand new MacBook, so you don't need one.
I don't care. I just wanted to see like what they look like. 'Cause I wasn't trusting any of the leaks at that point.
Oh, okay. So do you follow a lot of the blogs and stuff that talk about Apple leaks?
No, I don't.
How do you hear about leaks?
On my YouTube feed.
Oh, okay. Who do you like on YouTube to watch for this kind of stuff?
There's this YouTuber called Marcus Brownlee. He has
Oh, yeah.
14 million
Yeah, I've heard
subscribers.
of him. Mm-hmm.
He's pretty good. He's like the first to do everything.
Oh, okay. All right. Marquez Brownlee fan. Good. So from what you heard about, what you did hear about WWDC, what excited you?
That I'll be able to FaceTime people that are on Android and PC.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of cool. Do you have a lot of friends who use Android?
A few. Like
few?
my friend, we'd have to do Hangouts, but Hangouts didn't really work for me because I didn't get notifications on most of my devices. So now I'll be able to send him a FaceTime link.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. I do like the spontaneity of FaceTime, though. Like, I can just call somebody on FaceTime.
Yeah.
So scheduling is kind of like, well, like Skype
Yeah.
works fine, but I have to tell somebody, let's go to Skype. You can't just ring somebody on Skype unless you know they sit there with Skype open all day, and I don't know people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably do know people like that, but I don't know that I know them, and I don't keep it open, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But it will still be nice. I wonder if does it annoy you that they can't start a FaceTime call?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It annoys me that they can't iMessage and they can't start a call and like tell me on iMessage, hey, want to call?
But not on. All right. I know everybody's enjoying this, but I got to cut us off because it is 5:57, so I have to get to the end here.
So that was a teaser.
What'd you think, Steve?
Really good. Armand, you're really good behind the mic. You might want to consider podcasting. You're a natural. And you know your Apple info pretty darn well, from what I
Yeah,
can
he
tell.
does. Maybe you should start start small and just do little recordings for me for the show, because I like to have recordings.
That's the way several people have started.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
All right.
All right, let me check and see what the ending is here. All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Bye, Armand. Okay, there we go. That got us to 56 minutes. That was awesome. I didn't have to do nearly as much work this week.
Child labor.
All right. Child labor. No, I'm not going to pay him. Okay, here we go. I'm going to wind us up. Well, the live audience sure had a lot of fun listening to Armand and his opinions about all things Apple. I hope you guys do, but that is going to wind us up for this week. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions. Everything is Fiddly Recordings, comments and suggestions, and you can do that by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. And you can follow me on Twitter @podfeet. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. We got podfeet.com/Patreon if you want to do a recurring donation. Would you rather do just a one-off? You can do that at podfeet.com/PayPal. If you want to join in the community, you can go to podfeet.com/Slack, or if you like Facebook, you can go to podfeet.com/Facebook. We have communities in both places. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Armand did during the show tonight, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Child Apple geniuses. That's nice. All right. Drop this in. All right, so it will be the 4th chapter. I have 4 chapters. We got a chapter count request, Steve. There are 4 lights. Stay subscribed. What do you think, Steve?
I think there should be 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 of which have blog posts or have posts.
Yes. Yeah, have posts to
Yes.
go along with it.
That looks about
All right,
right.
guys. Well, I'm going to hit export, and I sure hope it exports the audio correctly from this. I did the recording with Armand using my Zoom H4 as the 2 mono inputs. I had 2 microphones hooked up to the Zoom H4 and then into my Mac. And I don't know why Hindenburg can't export those properly. It did not export any of them properly. So
Check out
Anyway.
Armand's little post.
where is it? What am I looking for, Steve?
He's just thanking you for the amazing opportunity. He had a lot of fun recording.
Oh, good. And your mom didn't make you say that? No, your mom's not that nice.
Nyla would
The first
appreciate that.
The first thing Armand's mother ever said to me the day we met was she said, "I'm really not a nice person."
We knew we'd like her right off the bat.
Oh, good. Happy to do recordings anytime. Oh, excellent. I've got a lot of microphones here. You can borrow one, or I can help you pick one out. That would be great fun. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it, Steve. You got any
Yep.
final words of wisdom?
Nope. Just enjoy the rest of your Father's Day, dads out there. And
Yep.
thanks
Happy
for joining
Father's
us.
Day, everybody. All right. Bye, guys.